A wealthy heir marches into the slums with $100 bill, itching to witness a brutal showdown between homeless men where the winner takes all. Just then, an elderly man suddenly steps forward because he is simply too famished to care.
You don't need to do this, but
The rich kid then spots a man hiding off to the side and starts egging him on to join the fray. However, Willie is reluctant to harm his own comrade for a measly $100, but the rich kid resorts to threats.
Someone else throwing those punches at him? Or you want to throw me?
Facing their superior numbers, Willie eventually gives in and agrees. Yet what happens next leaves the crowd absolutely speechless. Instead of fighting back, Willie drops to his knees and allows the old man's fists to rain down on his face. The rich kid, seeing this, grabs Willie's diary and threatens to torch it unless he pummels the old man. Willie panics instantly, lunging forward to shove the rich kid aside as he desperately tries to snatch his diary back from the flames. To him, this diary is the only flicker of light in his bleak existence. It turns out that not long ago, Willie accidentally found this diary while scavenging through a dumpster. Driven by curiosity, he carefully brushed the dust off the cover and gently flipped to the first page. From the entries, Willie learned that the owner was a lonely little girl just like him. Before passing away, her mother had urged her to write down her thoughts every day and record every moment of her life, because each day is unique. The girl kept her promise, diligently writing in her diary and pouring all her loneliness, sadness, longing, and hopes for the future into those pages. The loneliness and sorrow between her lines acted like a mirror, reflecting the most vulnerable corners of Willie's own heart. He felt as if he had found a soulmate across time and space, greedily devouring every word and immersing himself in this resonance, as if the girl were whispering right beside him. But just as he was getting lost in her story, the neat handwriting suddenly shifted into an English cursive style that he didn't recognize. The unfamiliar letters stood like a massive chasm, blocking his connection with the girl. Anxious and desperate, Willie carefully reached out to a nearby homeless man for help.
Excuse me, do you know how to read cursive?
You know how to read this?
But the man's cold words instantly extinguished the fire in his heart. That night, Willie lay on his bed, unable to fall asleep for a long time. The next morning, a preacher arrived in the neighborhood to spread the gospel. Seeing the learned preacher, a spark of hope flickered in Willie's eyes, and he cautiously begged the man to read a passage from the diary for him. But the preacher completely ignored him. Just as Willie was sinking into disappointment, an elderly woman suddenly gave him a few coins. In an instant, an idea flashed through his mind. He immediately rushed to a stationery store, his eyes scanning the shelves until they landed on a set of English cursive flashcards. But just as he's about to check out, even the cashier and a girl's mother kept their distance from the foul-smelling Willie. Yet Willie didn't get angry, as he had long since grown accustomed to this kind of discrimination. After placing the cards and his change on the counter and begging the woman to help him pay, Willie silently walked out of the store. Watching his lonely, retreating figure, the woman felt a pang of guilt and eventually delivered the cards to Willie as promised. Back at his shelter, Willie spread the cards on the ground and compared them word for word with the diary, finally managing to painstakingly decipher the girl's thoughts. As soon as he finished, a sudden clap of thunder erupted overhead, followed by a torrential downpour. The thunder roared incessantly, making Willie tremble with fear. But all he can do is curl up in his cardboard box, clutching his journal as if it's the only thing left for him to hold on to. The wind continued to howl outside, but the despair and terror in Willie's heart had vanished. He knew that a little girl he had never met was experiencing loneliness and fear right alongside him, and they were keeping each other company. This diary had become his armor against the void. He empathized with her loneliness, and her hopes filled him with compassion. He no longer felt alone because he had someone to talk to and something to protect. So he picked up a discarded pencil and began writing his own heartaches and daily life in the blank pages of the diary. After writing the last stroke, Willie tore out the page, folded it into a paper plane, and threw it into the sky with all his might, praying the wind would carry it to the girl so she'd know someone was silently watching over her. Willie's life slowly began to fill with light and anticipation because of this diary and the mysterious girl. But this warmth didn't last long. That night, two rich kids suddenly barge into the homeless encampment. Armed with a camcorder and mocking smiles, they actually tried to bribe the homeless men with $50 to fight each other for their amusement. Naturally, the homeless men scoffed at the offer. Though their lives were hard, they wouldn't lay a hand on their own brothers for a measly $50. They all shouted at JJ and Tyler to beat it. Willie happened to be passing by and just wanted to see what the commotion was about. But a man named Skillet behind him misunderstood, thinking Willie was there to fight for the money. Skillet's punches rained down fast and hard, pinning Willie to the ground without a chance to fight back. JJ and Tyler cheered and filmed from their car as if they were watching a play. Just when everyone thought Skillet had the win, the look in Willie's eyes suddenly changed. The cold shoulders and injustices he had endured for so long finally exploded, and his rage made him forget the pain as his thin body erupted with shocking combat power. He suddenly locked onto Skillet and hurled him away with brute force. But Willie's fury wasn't spent, so he mounted Skillet and delivered punch after punch, venting all his grievances and suffering. He didn't stop until Skillet was motionless, and then he wobbled to his feet. Seeing this, JJ's excitement reached its peak, and he ran up to Willie with $50, loudly declaring him the champion of the duel. This was the first time in Willie's life he had ever been recognized or honored as a winner, and the first time he felt his existence had meaning. Willie doesn't squander this windfall. Instead, he heads straight to a motel. The owner gave him a skeptical look at first, but perhaps for the sake of the cash, he finally opened a room for him. Warm water flowed over his heart, washing away the filth and scars covering his body, along with the bitterness and pain in his soul. He washed himself over and over, as if trying to rinse away all the squalor and despair to start a new life. After his shower, he enjoyed a meal while watching TV. This sense of comfort and ease was something he had never experienced before. But when the morning sun peeked into the room the next day, Willie was curled up on the cold floor, having not slept a wink. He used this to remind himself not to forget who he was and not to get attached to this fleeting warmth. On his way back home, Willie suddenly spotted a familiar figure, his neighbor Pinky, who was struggling to turn his wheelchair up a ramp. The kind-hearted Willie immediately stepped forward to help. Willie didn't give up easily because, as a fellow struggling soul, he knew exactly that Pinky's pride was at stake. So Willie pulled out his diary and asked Pinky to read a passage for him, offering to push him home in exchange. But Pinky not only rejected the offer, he slammed the diary onto the ground. Willie panicked instantly. Seeing how much Willie cherished that diary, Pinky froze for a moment and then took the lead to soften the tension.
You know what a pawn shop is?
Perhaps that shared smile at that moment was worth more than 1,000 words. Just like that, these two lonely souls lowered their guards and became each other's rare support in this ice-cold world. Through their conversation, Willie learned that Pinky was a veteran who had fought bravely on the battlefield and even had the honor of taking a photo with the president. He had even earned a Purple Heart, a glory he paid for with his own blood and sweat. But a pawn shop owner couldn't care less about the medal and was only willing to give him $15 for it. Pinky suppressed his rage and humiliation, trying to raise the price to $50, but the owner flatly refused.
Worthless.
Fucking not worthless, man. It's my legs right there.
The owner's words hit Pinky like a sledgehammer, crushing his final shred of pride. He knew the owner was telling the truth. No one cared about his former hero status, and that Medal of Honor was indeed worthless in the eyes of others. Yet the massive gap between his past and present caused Pinky to lose control, and after cursing out the owner, he left the shop with Willie. That night was especially tough, but luckily they found some chicken nuggets in a dumpster. Even though they were crawling with ants, it still counted as a full meal. Pinky caught a glimpse of the Pleasure House across the street. Willie explained that it only takes $15 to experience a night there. Hearing this, Pinky couldn't help but mock himself, realizing that the honor he gave everything for was only worth one night of fleeting intimacy. His pride shattered into pieces right then and there. Willie didn't say another word. He just stayed by Pinky's side, never leaving him. Since becoming friends, they gradually learned to integrate with the other homeless groups. They used to have different identities, but now they all share the same fate. They often huddle together, bragging about their past glories and venting about their current misery and despair. As they're chatting, another homeless man suddenly asks Willie a question.
Let you eavesdrop. What you want to do, man?
The question left Willie in a long silence. After deep thought, he slowly answered that he just wanted a home. That simple, almost tiny wish left everyone present in an even longer silence. Because this wasn't just Willie's wish, it was an unreachable luxury for every homeless soul there. In this cold world, they are like flickering candles in the wind, liable to be snuffed out by the storm at any moment. Even though they've given it their all, cruel reality keeps pushing them back into the abyss. Since everyone has to go out and beg every day, Willie is still alone most of the time. Years of living on the streets have left him with zero sense of security, so he instinctively seeks emotional comfort. Whether it's a discarded diary or a stray dog, he pours all his passion into cherishing them. He'd even rather go hungry just to use his savings for dog food, simply because that pup is one of the few companions who doesn't look down on him. Accompanied by the sound of the dog chewing, Willie opened the girl's diary once more. Just like the dog and the few strangers who showed him a sliver of kindness, they were all just passing through his life. Even if they brought him light for a moment, loneliness is the true baseline of life. It takes Willie a very long time to finish reading a single entry. The words he read that day made him feel exceptionally terrible. Whenever he's in pain, he rides the bus hoping someone, anyone, will notice him, even if it's just a passing glance. Christmas rolled around, and Willie spent every cent he begged for to buy a copy of The Little Match Girl, because he thought the protagonist was just like the girl in the diary. He tore off the cover and taped it onto his diary. Then, he once again folded his reply into a paper plane and tossed it into the sky. This had seemingly become a part of his life. As New Year approached, the streets were uncharacteristically lively. This should have been a prime time for begging, but Willie intentionally avoided the noise and ran to a rooftop alone. He kept the diary by his side, keeping the girl he'd never met company through a warm New Year's Eve. The next day, the streets returned to their usual coldness, and Willie and Pinky were back to digging through trash for food. Willie found a piece of cardboard and had a brilliant idea, writing "War Hero" on it. Unexpectedly, the trick actually worked, and Pinky was finally spared the mockery and disdain while begging. Many strangers actually stopped to show them a bit of kindness. With some cash in hand, the two decided to treat themselves. Willie pushes Pinky to that motel to wash away the filth and exhaustion, but the owner is hostile and even hikes up the room rate on purpose.
It's 120 for the night.
What? Talking about sign says 60.
Not for 2 person.
Having no choice, Willie sent Pinky to the room alone. Before parting, Pinky threw his last $15 to him. Willie clutched the money and walked toward the pleasure house across the street, but he didn't have any wild requests. He just wanted the woman to give him a hug. When the scent of cheap perfume mingles with the smell of sweat, Willie suddenly realizes a cruel truth. Dignity and warmth are just commodities with a price tag, and those things that once seemed unreachable are suddenly at your fingertips if you have the cash. Night fell again, and the rich kids barged back into the neighborhood. Before they could even open their mouths, Willie jumped into the ring and started throwing punches, showing no mercy to his fellow homeless men. Amidst the cheers and screams of the crowd, he fought like a tireless beast and never lost a single match. He was quickly crowned the boxing king of the area. What he didn't realize was that the bets were skyrocketing, and he was nothing more than a puppet in their game. JJ stuffed a wad of cash into Willie's pocket as promised, his tone full of flattery. These words brought a strange warmth to Willie's heart.
I know it sounds weird to call you my friend, but I don't know, man. I honestly like you, Willie. You know why I think you're loyal? But I'm gonna need to count on you. Can I count on you, Willie?
As his long-ignored and trampled self-esteem finally found a bit of solace. This feeling of being needed made him stubbornly view JJ as a friend, but in the dead of night, he lies in bed, tossing and turning. Even the hot meal he's been longing for goes cold. He has no appetite to touch it. Back in the neighborhood, Pinky read him the last page of the diary. The little girl said things were going terribly, and her foster uncle would beat her every time he drank. Reading this, Pinky suddenly burst into tears, saying he wasn't worthy of being Willie's friend. He confessed that he had once unalived a little girl on the battlefield. The enemy had used her as a human shield, and with the situation being desperate, he had to empty his magazine, killing the girl in the process. To this day, he can't forgive himself. Willie nodded silently. He knew Pinky had no choice. Pinky didn't say another word and just wheeled himself back to his shelter. That night, JJ brought more spectators and set up more bets for the fights. Willie was soon locked in a struggle with another man, but while the crowd was hyped, JJ was suddenly blindsided by Skillet. Skillet screamed for the rich kids to get the hell out of their neighborhood. Seeing his friend being bullied, Willie instinctively rushed in to protect him. but accidentally hit Skillet too hard, leaving him lifeless in a pool of blood. The rich kids fled in their car, leaving Willie to huddle in a cardboard box, terrified. He fled to a rooftop and then tried to hide in a hotel, but the cameras were everywhere. He ended up spending the long night in a dark corner of the street. However, when the police showed up the next morning, they just told him to move out of the way. Willie realized then that the life and death of a homeless person doesn't matter to anyone, but the guilt was suffocating him. So he went to the cemetery and hugged his father's cold headstone, hoping for a shred of comfort. Later in the park, Willie finds a dead pigeon. He carefully wraps it in newspaper and places it in a tree. In his heart, even if life fades, a free soul belongs to the sky. He still stubbornly believed that as long as he kept writing to the girl, he could be the angel her mother sent to protect her. But fate is always cruel. When Willie saw Pinky's medal in a pawn shop, his heart sank. He used all his savings to buy it back, wanting to surprise his best friend. But when he found Pinky on that freezing night, his only friend was already a cold corpse. Willie shivered as he covered Pinky with a blanket, weeping silently by his side. Then, he pushes Pinky's wheelchair to a secluded corner and leaves that medal, carrying both glory and pain, there forever. That night, Pope, the guardian of the streets, finds Willie and confronts him, demanding to know why he would hurt his own people. That blanket Willie owns was a gift from Pope, the silent guardian who looks out for the homeless. That's why Pope won't stand for them tearing each other apart.
They're not your friends, Willie.
Yes, they are.
Are they sleeping down here with you? They're not sleeping in the goddamn box, are they?
Willie argued that those people were his friends, but Pope tore the truth wide open. Willie finally woke up and realized he was just being used. He vented his rage and then cried, calling himself a fool. After his awakening, Willie decided to stop contacting the girl because he felt he was no longer a good person, just a loser who sold out his brothers for cash. Later, Willie went to the recruitment office to enlist, wanting his death to mean something, but he was rejected for being too old.
You can use me to protect the soldiers from bullets.
The officer admired his courage but wouldn't break the rules. That night, the wealthy kids returned with even more spectators. They called the homeless slaves and the betters Roman nobles. They trampled on the dignity of the homeless with zero shame. This time, Willie hid on purpose, and none of the other men wanted to fight. Even when JJ bumped the prize to $100, no one budged. But that's when the weakest old man in the community stood up. This leads us to the scene at the start where JJ used the diary to force Willie into a fight. Even though Willie went through hell to save the diary from the fire, the flames devoured every page, and his hands were severely burned. Willie lay in his hospital bed, overcome by a crushing loneliness. Even though the diary was gone, the words were burned into his memory. He softly recited the girl's entries and spoke of his longing for his mother, confessing his sins and his wasted time. Willie's raw emotion was broadcast through the intercom to the nurse's station. In another room, a little girl with burn scars on her face stepped out. She stood by Willie's door, listening to those familiar words, as if seeing the angel her mother once talked about. On the other side, Pope blocked JJ and Tyler's car and forced them out with a weapon. At first, they thought he was just robbing them.
I don't want your money or your car. I want you two boys to fight each other. The winner gets to drive home, but the loser, they stay with me.
Pope starts the countdown, wanting to give them a taste of their own entertainment. Hearing the count, Tyler was the first to snap, pinning JJ to the car and pummeling him. Pope just watched with a mocking smile, seeing how pathetic and fragile their friendship really was. Days later, a recovered Willie was dropped back on the street. Since the diary was destroyed, he had lost all hope and sat there like a hollow shell. Just then, Pope drove by, and though he had passed him, he looped back to give Willie a brand new blanket. Willie went back to begging. He was no longer loud or demanding. He just stood there silently, watching the world rush by. One day, a preacher came by and told him there was a way to avoid hell after death.
I don't want to go to heaven. I want to go to hell.
Willie's voice was dead calm, leaving the preacher speechless and forced to walk away. Just as despair was about to swallow Willie whole, a little girl with burn scars appeared across the street. She slowly walked toward him. When their eyes met, their souls recognized each other before their eyes did. Willie knows for certain she is the little girl who wrote that journal. When two drifting souls collide, this long-awaited meeting and this salvation through loneliness finally bring the story to a perfect close. Willie was a man of pure intent. Just because of a single wish in the little girl's journal, he spent every last cent at that motel to wash away the grime and the dust. He's so desperate for the world to acknowledge him, to feel worthy, and to find some meaning in his life, even if that longing is buried deep in the dirt. This movie doesn't have a wild plot or shocking twists, just a lonely beggar with an artistic soul. Yet it has a magic that makes you want to watch it to the end. Its most touching part is how it makes abstract loneliness real, allowing us to feel Willie's pain and his hunger for dignity. When Willie's hands are wrapped in white bandages, those arms that touched dirt and suffering become his wings, carrying his hopes for warmth. I often wonder why people like Pope choose to help. Maybe they are just naturally kind. But I prefer to believe they were once lonely souls on the street too. They found a way out of the despair, but never truly found a home. They are still homeless in spirit, just with more empathy and courage. Every living thing, whether low or high, instinctively craves to love and be loved. Willie is no different. He went to that place near the community not for lust, but to feel cherished for once. He didn't want to be alone when the curtain fell. No recap can replace the original film. We should experience the full journey to understand the loneliness, kindness, and hope behind the lens.
If you want more movie explainers like this, comment the next movie name. And subscribe to K.Movie.E at K.Movie.E for more. Please visit to our Instagram and Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching till the end.